IVM.
IVM Likes is an IVM production, and if you like our discussion about pop culture and movies, you should definitely check out our show Anything But Bollywood. Every week, Neha sits down to talk to some of India's best creators and filmmakers about art, cinema, their inspiration, and pretty much anything but Bollywood.
Hello and welcome to IVM Likes. My name is Navin and with me in the studio I have Alika Gupta.
Hello.
And Abbas Momin.
Hello.
And we are here to talk about a usual round of recommendations that we want to tell you guys to check it out. And also we'll discuss our favorite fictional hangout places and which one we would like to be in and which one would rather suck to be in. So here we go. Let's start the episode, guys. We've already had a lot of discussion before this episode. Abbas is feeling too cold. Alika has been tripping about Pikachu for some reason. What's this Pikachu thing though?
No, listen. So in the new I Choose You Pikachu movie, I guess, I don't remember what it's called. It was just revealed that Pikachu strangely speaks English.
Okay, you didn't have to say it like a news correspondent, but...
I didn't know he could speak at all.
News.
I used to think Pikachu can't speak at all.
But he said Pika Pika, that's what like... I thought it was Hindi. Dal kaisa hai? Pika Pika. Sorry.
Yeah.
So what is he originally supposed to speak? Japanese?
No, he's a Pokemon. He's supposed to just speak his name like all Pokemon do.
But Meowth speaks Japanese in the original.
So right? Meowth is a special snowflake, okay?
I know.
Oh, this is now Pokemon podcast.
But
IVM
Alika is one of those who still plays Pokemon Go very dedicatedly.
Okay.
Listen, you need to come over and play the trading card game with me. I have at least 3 decks ready to go.
I think we have unleashed a whole new
level of
monsters. Okay, so let's go first. Alika, what are you recommending today?
Okay, I'll be recommending a book series. So it's called Temeraire. And it's a series of 9 novels. They've all been completed by Naomi Novik. And it's a fantasy series. Listen, I don't recommend anything other than fantasy. You guys better get used to this.
Yeah.
You and Amit should be on an episode. Both of you recommend exclusively fantasy stuff.
Yeah, but it's fantasy and also alternate history. So, like there are dragons in this, but it's
also Hitler.
Set. No.
Okay.
But you're close, kind of.
Man, if Hitler rode a dragon, I would be like, what?
No, it's kind of close and not so far off the mark. It's a dragon set in the Napoleonic Wars.
Okay.
So, like, in this, it's assuming the timeline of the Napoleonic Wars happening when there were aerial forces where Britain used dragons as their aerial forces.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so there's a lot of, like... cool aerial maneuvers that you get to see when they, attack the ships and the naval forces.
So is this a world where dragons just exist, or there is a history how they came into existence? It's just given that dragons exist in this
Yeah,
world.
I mean, like, they've existed since the beginning. And then you get into a little bit of history of how they were, tamed, sort of, not actually tamed, because they are intelligent beings and they are capable of speech in this series.
Okay.
So you kind of get into like what sort of relationships they have with humans in different parts of the world.
Oh, okay.
So it's not the same everywhere. So in Britain, they have the thing where dragons are manned by crews of people. So there'll be like 30 or 40 people all over the dragon who man the guns, have a harness.
Also, they're like the Chitari dragons from like Ultron.
Kind of.
Sorry, from
Avengers, yeah.
Kind of, sort of, but yeah.
They're mounting them and then using them as like a battleship, essentially.
Sort of, yeah. So there's a captain and then there's his lieutenants and then you have the bellmen and the harnessmen and the gunners and things like that.
Oh my god.
But yeah, but that's only in Britain. In places like, and you see this as you go through the series, as you go to like Africa and stuff, the dragons there aren't at all harnessed for war. In fact, they are worshipped as their ancestors of people. And they have a process of like reincarnating the soul of their ancestors through dragons. So it's a lot of, different cultures which revere their dragons differently. And it's really, really interesting. So we follow the journey of this. And I like this because it's not the usual, young boy inherits a dragon sort of thing. We follow the journey of this really stiff-necked, old-fashioned naval officer who's like in his 30s already, called Captain William Lawrence, and he doesn't want a dragon at all.
Okay.
Because in British society, we mostly follow the viewpoint of British society here.
So the Frenchies are the bad ones, is what they're like.
Yeah, so they're fighting Napoleon.
Correct.
So in British society, it's like if you get a dragon, you are stuck with that beast, and you have to kind of shun the rest of society, because the rest of society doesn't really like a dragon flying around the towns and villages.
You could replace dragon with bullets and be the same sentence. Like you have to now take care of the beast and you cut away from your family because you're obsessed with that bullet.
Pretty much.
Yes.
Yeah. So
great observation.
yeah. So he unfortunately gets paired up with a dragon, and it's a lot of fun. It's very political, which is super interesting. A lot of fantasy series, you don't really get into the cool politics of things, but here you get to see
the alternate
a lot.
history hook sounds very interesting.
Very interesting,
Like,
yeah. I mean, to imagine guns and dragons at once together, it's pretty
because,
interesting.
there's a Nerd Writer video, I think, where they say why Dragon halt
The progress in Game of Thrones, yeah.
because they have all the medieval, basically like they have blacksmiths, they have goldsmiths, and all these people who helped bring the Industrial Revolution later in the British era. But then because they never really had any kind of automation, they just had dragons who were like terrifying people. They really never cared about inventing stuff. So it's pretty cool to have a different take on that.
Yeah.
So there are 9 books, is it?
Yeah, there are 9 books.
And completed series, basically.
Yeah, it just got completed.
So the kid grows up to the there's a proper arc for the kid also, right?
There is
It's
no
not a
kid.
It's a 30-year-old guy.
Huh.
So, but yeah, there's a proper arc for the guy and for his dragon.
If he was in Hollywood, he'd be cast like as a 60-year-old guy who's playing 30-year-old.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, this happened a little while ago, but Peter Jackson had picked up the rights to this book series to make into a mini-series. But I think it's kind of gone a little under surface right now. But
I don't think Peter Jackson can ever recreate what he did.
Well, you never know.
Yeah, let's see.
what do you think? His best days are behind him?
I think so.
Maybe.
It came with the 2 towers, so...
I mean,
Not even Return of the King. 2 Towers.
Yeah, I think that was a peak, I'm saying. Return
Okay.
of the King was thoda niche, but otherwise in Hobbit was just like whatever.
Yeah, I agree.
Let's see. But, okay, I'll go next. I want to quickly recommend a music album. A lot of people must have heard of these songs, but check them out in an entire... check them out as a package, because it's so amazing to have a music producer in a modern time and age who's experimenting with styles like these. So Calvin Harris, a famous music producer, has his 5th album out. It's called Funk Wave Bounces Volume 1. Came out in June 2017, but it's been like... The videos are now trending on YouTube. And the one that everybody's heard is the one called Fields with Katy Perry and Pharrell Williams.
Yeah.
It's like the pop culture and summer anthem, essentially. But there are other great songs on the album that need to be checked out. Especially Hard to Love, which is featuring a very raw talent called Jessie Reyes, who's nobody's heard of, but like she's so amazing. Her voice is so raw, so beautiful. Then there's Rollin' by Future and Khalid, and there's a Slide by Migos and Frank Ocean. Right, so
Nice.
yeah, so the way this guy is working with all these amazing artists to create, the name of the album is justified. It's Funk Wave Bounces Volume 1, basically. Like there's funk, there's wave, there's jazz, there's hip hop, there's a lot of other stuff, and it's come together very nicely. Like it sounds like these guys had a lot of fun in the studio to create all these songs, and that's it. I don't have much to say about the fact, but then I have been tripping so much on this album, and check it out. It's called Funk Wave Bounces Volume 1 by Calvin Harris.
Nice.
I feel like this is the sort of album I would like to listen to.
Yeah, check it out.
I feel like it would keep me awake on slow afternoons when I'm working.
And also the videos are also very nice to watch, because they're not like, there's not nothing. The earlier Calvin Harris numbers, which featured Rihanna and other musicians, would have a lot of like EDM and a lot of like strobe lighting and this and that, and a lot of these dark chick feels. But now it's come down to like basically a car driving along a desert and highway, or like the slide is basically just like the camera is looking upwards and the car is driving along. So basically just going through bushes and trees, and it's just green. There's no real like extra effort in the video, apart from the fact that it's so soothing to watch and to enjoy. Even the song called Hard to Love, as I mentioned, Jessie Reyes is just basically singing the song and walking across the streets of Paris. It's so beautiful and mellow at the same time. So
Nice.
Do all the songs have videos?
yeah,
Okay.
right now there are like 5-6 videos out.
Okay.
Even there's one more called Fakin' It, which is also nice.
Okay.
Check it out. Next up we have Abbas' recommendation. He's recommending a movie.
I'm recommending a film that's called Calvary. It came out in 2014.
Oh, nice. I love
Oh, you've seen that
Yeah,
one?
yeah.
Oh, okay. So what
Brendan
happened?
Gleeson.
Yes, exactly. So what happened was recently, late at night, I wanted to watch something before sleeping, and I was pretty tired. So at those points, you try and select a movie based on the running time. Anything under 2 hours, I'd watch it. So I was on Hotstar browsing, and I came across this, and it was like 1 hour 40 minutes. So I said, let's check it out. And I was hooked right from the first scene itself. So the film is about this priest played by Brendan Gleeson, and his name is Father James. The film starts off with a confession of a man confessing to the father. We don't see who is confessing to him. We just see the father. And during the confession, he says that he was abused by a priest as a child. And to take revenge of that, exactly 1 week from now, he's going to kill the father who he's confessing to,
Father James. Yeah.
Father James.
Whoa.
And the rest of the movie is set in this quaint Irish town where there's a very small community of people who congregate together every week in the church. So the father almost knows everyone who comes to the church, and also people who've chosen not to come to the church. So for the rest of the movie, we and the priest try and guess who it could have been who confessed and threatened to take the father's life. But also it questions these heavy existential questions of what is faith, what exactly moves a person to believe in a higher power, how do you relate to things that go around you. Like, for example, Father James's character is actually a good character. He's the good father, a good priest. But
he also has a daughter who's very nice to him, and vice versa.
Yeah, so
even though she has issues,
he in the story he joins the priesthood pretty late. So he's actually married and has a child. He's lost his wife, but his daughter is still there. So how he relates to each of these little characters around town and how they treat him. And why? Because, I mean, Father James's character is a good character, but because of this notion that
I've wronged someone, probably.
That priests, are not the safest people to be around.
Yeah.
He has to bear the brunt. And inversely, how, without giving much away, near the end of the film, he has to face the fact that he also has to take responsibility of what people in his own church community do. So it has this very existential questions, but it deals with it in a very approachable manner. There are some really very quippy, witty lines. The film is peppered with some dark humor. And it's made on a very moderate budget. It doesn't have extravagant shots. All the performances are really good. Brendan Gleeson is amazing as the central character. He's almost in every scene. Chris O'Dowd, who actually is known for playing more funnier goofy characters, actually puts on a very good performance. So it's a nice, calm film, but it also it's one of those films which stays with you after you've seen it, and you try and ponder over it over and over. And I would say check it out. It's called Cavalry.
You did do a good job describing the movie, though, because earlier you were like, I don't know how to describe this movie.
Yeah, because
but the end of the movie, the symbolism is already there in the title itself. I'll tell you why. Because among the Catholics, they'll know this, because Calvary is the place where Jesus was crucified.
I see.
And like he knew he was going to die a week before he was getting ready to go into Jerusalem.
Oh, okay.
And then he was treated like a king, but on the final day he was like turned around. People turned around and crucified him. And the same feelings went through his head. Why am I being persecuted for all these sinners who are like trying to get me out of the way? I'm just doing a good job, right? My father and I am trying to do a good job. So it basically plays on those notions from a priest perspective. So it's pretty beautiful to have that kind of detailing,
symbolism. Yeah.
So
it's on Hotstar. Check it out if you have a Hotstar subscription. It's a really good film.
Cool. So that's our round of recommendation. Alika suggested a book,
Temeraire by Naomi Novik.
I suggested Funk Wave Bounces Volume 1 by Calvin Harris. And Abbas recommended
the film Calvary.
Cool. So we'll take a short break. We'll be back in the next segment to talk about more stuff.
In a world where people are busy playing Mendicott at Diwali parties, two men decide to go all in the river.
Don't you mean on the river?
On the river.
Oh yeah.
Two men will go where no one has ever gone before, to a studio with no air conditioning or Coke Zero, to talk about poker.
Hey, order lo na yaar, koi kya hai ye bakwas?
The SpartanPoker.com presents Mera Kaam Poker, hosted by Azim Banatwala,
the best comedian in the world, according to himself,
and Peter Abraham,
not related to John.
New episodes out every Wednesday on the IVM podcast app or any other podcasting app you use. And for all our listeners who want to try out their hand at poker, you can log on to thespartanpoker.com, register yourself as a user with the promo code IVM, and you will get 200 bonus cash, which you can use to play poker for free. See you at the tables.
Okay, welcome back to IVM Likes. Here we are at the table discussing stuff. While we were chilling, we all have a favorite adda to go to, with our friends, and we all hang out over time. But there are certain times when you look at a certain TV show or a movie and be like, why can't I chill with them? If you look at the Avengers post-credit scene, where they're eating shawarma amidst the broken down New York, I want to hang out with them, that kind of stuff. So, and one common thing that we all knew growing up was Central Perk. It was so, it's such a cultural icon for a lot of us 90s kids because Friends was always on TV. And that's
still always on.
And and at one point, Z Cafe and Starwell both had Friends, different seasons, season 3 here and season 9 there. And either of, if you switch to any of the channels, they're still in Central Perk chilling, same decor and everything. And that kind you don't have those kind of coffee places in reality. There's no coffee place that'll give you an entire cushion, entire sofa to yourself and your friends, and nobody else gets to sit. They also play on that in the show. But
not to mention the fact they sit there for 80% of their day.
Yeah, so, and they all one episode they're bonding you. I don't know why lives are so bad. And Joey's because it's 10 a.m. and they're still all over here hanging out with each other instead of going to work. Yeah, I never really wondered because Friends, they hardly go out and do actual work. They're just doing random adventures and shit. And they're living in New York, so that it's a very false representation, obviously. And it's everything the show shows, basically the cafe is also a representation of that. That's just
it's like a parody, I guess.
And then anybody who wants to work there gets a job when they want to. And Gunther is always there.
And they always they always run into people they want to meet right outside the cafe. They were passing by. I'm like, oh, I didn't expect to meet you here.
Because the studio audience wouldn't be able to see beyond that.
I feel like we should reclassify this genre into fantasy. Getting jobs whenever you want.
Yeah. That is, Friends is actually a fantasy show. We set out to discuss something else and now. Anyway, so that's my first thought of the fictional universe or fictional chill place that people would like to. I would like to chill.
I mean, so you imagine Central Perk, right? You'd like to. Do you also imagine small things like what the food must taste like, what must be the texture of the sofa and all of that stuff?
Yeah, the sofa is very cushiony and velvety to me. It's the right kind of lumbar support where I lean in and I kind of lose myself entirely body wise. I've been on those sofas, so I know how it feels.
Okay.
But I would imagine that would feel nice.
Nice. My imaginary place is going to be no surprise, kind of cliche, but the Gryffindor common room from Hogwarts is something.
Are you a Gryffindor?
I'd like to be, because the thing is, in the books,
Haven't you taken the test?
I don't remember. I took it long back.
And you don't remember?
Pottermore put me in Gryffindor, by the way.
Oh, she put you in Gryffindor?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, nice. But the reason, that's what I'm saying, I want to be a Gryffindor because I want to hang out in the Gryffindor common room, because in the books, that's the one that's described with so much vivid detail that we haven't seen the other common rooms except for Slytherin, which sounded horrible.
Excuse me?
It's in the dungeons, dude. Seriously?
Yeah. Have you read the description on Pottermore? It's under the lake, and from the windows you can see mermaids and the giant squid.
Yeah,
Nice.
it still doesn't sell it to me.
Sorry, it's the best.
No,
I'm a
I would-
Slytherin, by the way. just
I'd
saying.
like that too, because then I don't like light too much. I would like to be underground.
Really?
It's really cool. It's all dark and there are tapestries and stuff.
And I never understood, for example, in the first movie when Harry gets his first invisibility cloak gift, there's no one in the entire common room.
It's because they've gone home for the holidays.
But no one apart from these two, these two.
In the film, of course, they exaggerated. I think in the books there are a few people lurking around here and there, and they actually go into
Same
a corner
when
or something.
Sirius ka thing comes in the
That
fireplace.
I
Then
agree.
again, that's a normal school day. It's a room of convenience in the Hogwarts green room. It's just what's happening?
Yeah, but the fireplace, the way she has described the portraits around the room, and again, based on the situation, the size of the room keeps expanding and contracting, because like you said, when it's something secretive like eavesdropping on something or receiving messages from Sirius, it's this clandestine little corner. But when they're celebrating after a Quidditch victory, the entire all the Gryffindor students are in there and partying, so it's like this huge mansion kind of a thing. But the way it was portrayed in the movies, I love it. The long stained glass, the fact that the vantage point is you can almost see one entire view of the castle from the common room. It sounds very enticing.
The third movie had the best shot in terms of like all the kids are eating those weird gums and then like the smoke coming out of Ron's.
Right, and then they zoom out to the Dementors. Yeah, that was really good.
Such a nice shot.
Yeah.
Then you get like where the thing is also. It's on one of the castle ka pillars. It's on the top and you just like pan out.
Yeah.
Nice.
So the Gryffindor common room is my ideal fictional place to hang out.
But also because like we're talking about Harry Potter, like over the years obviously the sets would change.
Yeah.
So the fat lady's portrait would like be different in every movie. Sometimes it was up the arch, sometimes it was in the alleyway, sometimes it's next to the staircase. So it was so funny.
So, but in the books, it's actually justified because Sirius Black tried to intrude in Prison of Azkaban and attacked the fat lady because he couldn't get into the...
Spoilers.
Hey, it's a 15-year-old book, man.
Just saying.
So in the books,
For the
Dumbledore...
one person who has not yet read Harry Potter.
I don't think they even listen to this. People who haven't read listen to this. But anyway, so in the books, Dumbledore actually gets the portrait shifted to another place. Anyway, that's just me being...
But it was... I also read it at a time when, I have this tendency that whenever I had an exam, I would sit and binge read all of Harry Potter. Like every time I had exams. So for me, reading that book and reading all the descriptions in it was very comforting.
Okay.
So, every time I read about the Great Hall or the Common Room or something, there was this really nice feeling of comfort. So, I would enjoy hanging
I
out
wish they
there.
would show the elf ka kitchen though. Like that's right below the tables and how
You
the
mean the
food...
goblin kitchens?
No, the
House elf.
The house elves cook the food.
Okay, right. Goblins were the bankers.
You earn some
I know,
points for
now I lost
nerdiness
it.
and so the elves ka kitchen is downstairs and like the food would magically appear on table. Like, they never justified how it comes, but they're actually teleporting it upwards. It's pretty cool.
The Hufflepuff common room is next to
Next
the
to
kitchen.
it, yeah.
See, you're a proper Harry Potter fan. You've read the Pottermore extra stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not a big Pottermore reader.
But now I've forgot my login credentials, so I don't know how to get back to it.
Can I give you my first where I read Harry Potter for the first time story?
Sure.
So I was in London. I was visiting, I think they're my cousins. Probably.
How old were you?
We're going to just say cousins. I was 10.
Oh, okay.
Maybe 11. And my dad told me that my cousins had this book which I should read because I would like it. Okay, because I was a voracious reader. I would read anything. I finished reading Little Women in like 2 days because I just wanted to read something.
We get it, Alika, yes.
Yes, sorry. I can brag sometimes. But yeah, so they had Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone, which was great. So I started reading it and I read it through the night. We had to leave and take a plane for the next place in like the morning at 6 o'clock. I was reading it at 6, trying to desperately finish the last 50 pages in 10 minutes. I think I managed about 20 of those pages and then I had to run and I was like, I don't know what happened in the end. I need to know how did Harry escape Professor Quirrell or whatever.
So then did you buy the book when you reached wherever you took the flight to?
No, I had
How long
to
did you
wait
wait?
a year.
Holy shit, you waited a year to read the 20 pages.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's cruel.
I know it was. But I did then buy all the books which
Of
had
course.
released up till then and then read it.
Same
and
thing
watched it.
happened with me, but this was with regards to a TV show which I'm going to recommend now and tell you how it also has a cool hangout space. So that 70s show, my cousin, I was in Bangalore for my vacations and my cousin had like the 10 seasons, but because I was there at his house for like 4 days, I could hardly watch like 1 or 2 seasons. And like it's so weird when you go to your cousin's place and don't chill with the cousins or with the uncle and auntie and just like
Watch
sit on his
TV.
laptop and watch TV shows. And Eric's Basement was so appealing to me. And then like I had to wait for 3 years till I figured out how to download shit on torrents and stuff. And then I got the whole
Actual
10
thing,
seasons and watched it. So that 70s show, Eric's Basement, man, like it's got like a whole cornucopia of stuff. That's where like they discovered the round table, to show that they are smoking joints.
Yeah.
Essentially, they were under the contract that they can't show them smoking joints, so they would basically do a smoke effect in the background, and the camera would like keep panning towards their faces on a round table, so it would have such funny reactions and. You all remember this, right?
Yeah, of course.
None of you are like...
No, I do remember this.
And again, like it's got a stinky couch, a stinky... What do you call those things?
You basically love couch places. Like wherever there's a couch you can laze around on, you're like, I'm there.
Yeah, because I do that a lot on couches in general.
Okay.
Like, one couch, if you are with a group of friends, one couch is not for one person
Yeah,
in
that's
general.
true.
Like, it's like 4 people pound, like one on the armrest, one on the actual cushion, somebody on the top of it, and people are jumping on each other, massaging each other, whatever. And now it's become a weird. I'm talking
now
about
it's
like
become-
friendly things. Like if you talk about Kabir Chandra, our friend, and we spent like lot
I
of
know,
time.
I was thinking about that too.
Yeah, so and his couch is very long, so
Yeah.
like ideally 2 people can crisscross and sleep on
We
it.
also broke it once, but
You
never
broke it
mind.
once.
I did, okay.
Yeah. So
My second.
Wait, didn't ask
Oh
Alika.
yeah, Alika hasn't mentioned like a place yet.
Yeah, okay. I'll go. So I really, really want to hang out in the Green Dragon in Lord of the Rings. You know, just these wooden tables with wooden benches, people having mugs of beer and ale and whatever, roast chicken and stuff. And it's like the whole Hobbit families hanging out there.
Yeah.
I want that.
And fireworks in the background also.
Yeah, man. I really like that. The whole idea of, you know, this sort of medieval scenario with the fire at the hearth and people, you know, yelling out things and they're playing weird dice games in the corner.
It's almost an Amish village, if you describe it like that. Like there's a pork roasted pig with an apple in its mouth.
Okay.
Yeah, but you see, my issue with a place like that is Central Park around friends. You've seen it's an urban setting, okay? Gryffindor common room, okay, it's still like a safe space. Places like the bar from Lord of the Rings or Mos Eisley Cantina from the Star Wars universe, don't you think, as in like logically, you'd really be out of place in those places because there are like murderers and smugglers and spies who are around and magicians, weird
And adventure.
Yeah, it seems adventurous, but if you actually put yourself in that, I would like you would मेरी मतलब in, as we say eloquently in Hindi, मेरी फट जाएगी उधर पे. What the hell is going on? These are all really creepy people around.
Yeah, but like if you...
It makes sense in fiction, but if you actually, I would like freak out in a place like that.
But if you hung around like long enough, you'd get used to it.
I don't think the bartenders would allow me to hang. That's my point. Like I don't
I'm not
fit
saying
in.
like in one sitting. That's
Because you don't drink also, no?
That's also true. But I'm sure they have non-alcoholic drinks. I mean, butterbeer is what?
I've had butterbeer. It's delicious.
Like in the wizarding world?
Yeah.
Oh.
It's so good.
Yeah, some more cool bars and
Yeah.
restaurants from TV shows that I would recommend are the Monk's Cafe from Seinfeld. Then there's Arnold's from Happy Days. There's Moe's Tavern.
Most Tavern, oh yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck, like I would drink that beer even if I
Yeah,
don't drink.
yeah.
I'll drink that brown beer.
Duff beer.
Duff beer.
Yeah.
I do not know this. What is this most tavern?
Simpsons.
Simpsons, dude.
This is why I don't watch Simpsons. I have no idea.
Oh god.
Oh man,
Okay.
you're missing out. Really.
I'm sure.
No, but then like first 13 seasons were good. Then like
So that's
13
enough.
seasons.
Yeah.
no, right
13.
now it's on what 26 or something.
27th. I
27th.
believe.
I don't know why you think I have the time to watch 13 seasons.
Because it's worth it.
It's one of the finest animated TV shows ever written.
Finest pieces of humor in the history of mankind.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
Stoic and hilarious at the same time.
Yeah. Now we'll sell you The Simpsons for the rest of the episode.
But she won't buy it.
Sure, your loss, man.
You can read 9 series ka books and all that, so like, you can do this also.
Those take me 9 days to read.
What?
Did you mention the How I Met Your Mother wala bar?
No, McLaren's, right?
McLaren's, yeah.
Yeah, that was cool. Like they had a jukebox, which was always a plus for me. I remember one scene where Ted has broken up and he's drunk and everything, and he goes to the jukebox and goes, "I think I need 2 things right now: Cool and the Gang." And he just like bangs the jukebox and
start playing.
And Cool and the Gang starts playing, and I'm like, okay, this is cool.
Just like the Friends couch, even How I Met Your Mother played on the fact that in one episode they enter McLaren's and that table is taken.
Yeah.
And they played on the fact that how is it possible to take for someone else, for any other character to take this table. So they kind of played on that. So that was pretty funny. So it's not just the place, but actually where the characters are placed in that place.
And also they got to like develop a lot of like the bathroom also was a iconic area.
Yeah, exactly.
And the behind the bar scene also like was always there, and getting out of the bar also was.
Yeah.
I miss How I Met Your Mother actually. Should.
Not really.
I mean, I should like go out and check out some episodes. Just
Some
to get,
episodes,
like,
yeah, sure, but I would miss that show.
Did they ever find out who was the mother?
Yeah,
Yeah,
that
it
the
was
whole point of it.
horrible.
Yeah, that was like the first thing they had in mind was much better.
Oh, okay.
You were mentioning...
I also kind of like the comic book shop from The Big Bang Theory. Listen, I don't really like Big Bang Theory anymore. My eyes have been opened. It's a weird show.
Now,
Yeah.
Now
No.
your eyes have been opened now.
No, I mean, it's been for a while. But yes. But I really like that comic book shop where they hang out sometimes because it's so cool. They've got all the comics, also all the merchandise.
And
We
they always-
don't have these things here.
They're always fighting over it as well. Like,
Yeah.
people are like, what is happening?
Yeah, that's true, but at least they have that thing there. We don't have these sort of massive comic book shops with 5 million comics and 700 pieces of merch and
Mint condition.
By the way, have you seen the show called Comic Book Men by Kevin Smith?
I think I've heard of
You
it.
should watch it
Yeah.
because it's based around. Since this is a recommendation podcast, we'll recommend things to each other as well. So check it out.
I
Comic
don't
Book Men.
recommend Big Bang Theory.
No,
Just
but
put it
Young
but-
Sheldon is surprisingly good, guys.
Yeah, I
Is
Check
it?
it out
Yeah.
because it's not the studio comedy.
Right,
sitcom
yeah,
style. It's a properly shot thing, and the kid is he's very cute and also very smart at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
So check it out. I gave it a shot. Like I was just like, again,
Right.
I had to sleep at night. I'm like one show I have to watch at least.
Yeah.
And again, it was on Amazon Prime, so
Ah.
it's much more accessible now.
Right.
Check it out. So I think we should round this up.
Yep.
Tell us what your favorite fictional hangout spaces are. Would you hang out with us sometime on a couch? I'll get a couch. You bring your company and we'll have a good time. Alika will get butter beer. Abbas
Yeah.
will get
Duff beer.
Duff beer, and we'll have a good time. Thank you so much for listening to us. We are IVM Podcast. Check us out online. And if you have any recommendations or stories to tell, tweet to us, write to us on Facebook, or find us on Instagram. Thank you so much. My name is Navin,
I'm Alika.
And this is Abbas.
and this is IVM Likes. Thank you.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is your captain speaking. Sorry to say, but there's been a slight delay due to the apocalypse having suddenly begun. As you can see, there's death, destruction, and chaos taking place all around us. But don't you worry, food and drinks will be served shortly, and I would recommend checking out
IVM Podcasts.
to get some of your favorite Indian podcasts. We'll keep you going till this whole thing blows over. Thank you.